Further remarks? Gentleman from the 2nd District, Representative Barkis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the good gentleman from the 15th for bringing this forward. He points out a very good point in this, and I do appreciate what the good lady from the 36th has said too. But the reality of it is, you're right. I've got it right in front of me, Mr. Speaker. There's 7 different things that you can pick from, one of which being is a hardship. And as we've established during this debate and many countless hours of time and everything else, of course it's a hardship. But that judicial discretion is at one of the core elements that's been talked about in these meetings about this bill that is so dramatic to the change in this law, because it does give that discretion to the judge to be able to stay the writ. So after this has all been done, then they can pick one of these pieces here, and yes, there are a couple good ones, but what if they just go to the hardship and say it was a hardship on the tenant? It doesn't say hardship on the landlord, hardship on the tenant, and they stay it for up to 90 days. Now, there are other terms in here, and there are other things that we'll talk about, but that is something that you've got 6 remaining that you can choose from. That's why this is a good amendment. And I will also say this. Good lady from the 36 pointed out another good point. You know, it's been one of the key talking points that eviction causes homelessness. Eviction may be a cause of homelessness. People may end up in homelessness due to eviction. But Mr. Speaker, we got to ask the other question. What was the cause of that eviction? Why couldn't they pay their rent? Was it a loss of job? Well, we tried to address that. We've been talking about that. That was the whole premise for the other bills that another legislator put forth, because we recognize those hardships. But Mr. Speaker, what you've been hearing here this afternoon is the question that we got to be asking. Is it drugs? Is it addiction? Are those drugs more important to buy those than it is to pay the rent? And all the other things that go along with that? So, Mr. Speaker, sometimes we just go from point A to point B, but we got to ask that question, what is the cause? And as somebody who has been in the business for a long time, I have looked and seen and done and helped so many people who have dealt with evictions, and I can tell you, I can answer that question because I've seen it firsthand, why the person could not pay their rent. We need to continue to do good work to help those who are truly in hardship situations due to this economy, due to rising house costs, all those other things we've been talking about. We need to address those, Mr. Speaker. But we have to also ask that other question. This is a good amendment, Mr. Speaker. It needs to be considered, and I urge its adoption.
Further remarks? Seeing none, the question for the House is the adoption of Amendment 594. As many as are in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment fails.